A woman insisted I let her cut in line at my boutique, saying, I have more important places to be than these other people. I refused, and she screamed, I'm a VIP customer. The cashier smirked and replied, funny, because she is the store owner. The woman's face dropped as I casually said, and I don't serve rude customers. I own a small clothing boutique in Chicago, Illinois. I've run it for 6 years. I'm not some big-name fashion house. I'm a woman in her 40s who spent years working jobs I hated just to save enough to open a shop of my own. Every hanger, every shelf, every tag, I picked all of it. I hire good people who know how to treat others. And most of my regulars? Solid folks. But now and then, someone walks in thinking the world revolves around them. That's the story I'm about to share. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Not even a weekend rush. But it was busy. We'd just restocked a bunch of hand-sewn scarves and locally made jackets that my customers had been asking about for weeks. Word gets around fast when you've got something people like. So yeah, the place was packed. We had a line stretching past the racks near the register, but it was moving. I was by the entrance, folding new arrivals, keeping an eye on things, but letting my staff handle the counter. Maya, one of my employees, was doing a great job. She's smart, calm, doesn't let people walk all over her. She's 22, putting herself through college, and one of the kindest workers I've had. Anyway, that's when she walked in. This woman. Tall. Maybe late 30s. Platinum blonde hair done up like she was headed for a photo shoot. Huge sunglasses inside. Designer coat, tight pencil skirt, and shoes that didn't look like they belonged on a cold Chicago sidewalk. Everything about her said, I'm important. She didn't look at any displays. Didn't browse. Walked straight up to the counter like she was late for something and everyone else just didn't matter. And here's the thing. People noticed. Everyone in line turned their heads. One woman who'd been waiting 20 minutes sighed, so loud it echoed. Then Blondie drops a pair of leather gloves on the counter and goes, I need to check out. I'm in a hurry. Maya, polite as always, said, Ma'am, there's a line. You'll need to wait your turn. The woman didn't even blink. Excuse me? I have somewhere to be. I'm not standing around like the rest of these people. Then she turned to the line, and said loud enough for all of them to hear, I have more important places to be than these other people. I'm sure they understand. I watched a guy in line close his eyes like he was trying not to say something. A younger woman muttered, unbelievable, under her breath. Then Maya repeated, calm as before, I'm sorry, but everyone needs to wait their turn. That's when the gloves came off, well, not literally. Blondie scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, I'm a VIP customer. I shop here all the time. I spend more money here in a week than these people do in a month. That's when I stepped in. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't make a scene. I just walked up next to Maya and looked at the woman. I own this store, I said. And I don't recognize you. Her mouth twitched. I usually send my assistant. I shrugged. That explains it. But whether you've spent $1,000 or none, we don't cut lines here. Everyone waits like everyone else. Now here's where it gets wild. She looked me up and down, like she was sizing me up. Then she laughed. This is a joke. You? The owner. I didn't say anything. Maya smiled and said, funny, because she is the store owner. The woman's face dropped. No more laughing. Just silence. Then I said, and I don't serve rude customers. You could have heard a pin drop. Everyone in line just stared. Then, like it was rehearsed, the older woman at the front of the line clapped. Just once. Then a couple more people chuckled. But Blondie? She grabbed the gloves, shoved them into her bag without paying, and stormed out. Pushed the door so hard it slammed behind her. Didn't say another word. Just disappeared down the sidewalk like she'd been personally insulted. And look, I figured that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. Next day, one of my regulars messaged me on Instagram. Hey, just FYI, someone's trashing your store on Yelp. I checked. Sure enough, a 1-star review popped up from someone named Crystal V. Said our staff was disrespectful, that she was treated like garbage despite being a loyal customer, and that the owner humiliated her in front of a crowd. She even called me an angry woman with no sense of customer service. I didn't respond, but my customers did. Within 24 hours, the review had replies from at least 10 people who were in the store that day. They told the real story. Some even posted about how proud they were to support a business that treated everyone equally. One guy wrote, "I was there. Lady showed up, tried to skip the line, and got politely called out." Nothing wrong with that. More people started posting photos of their purchases with hashtags like #SupportSmallBusiness and #RespectFirst. Honestly, I was touched. But then it got stranger. Later that week, 2 different people came in and told me the same thing. This VIP woman was bad-mouthing my boutique at her gym. One said she overheard her going on and on about how the owner humiliated me and I'm never going back. Another said she was trying to get others to boycott us. I don't get intimidated easily, but this was starting to feel personal. She didn't just leave. She wanted revenge. Over being asked to wait in line like everyone else. And she wasn't done. Soon after that, weird things started happening. 1-star reviews from accounts that had never been to the store. A few fake customer complaints came in via email, all vague, all saying things like, "Your staff ignored me," or "I felt uncomfortable shopping there." None of them mentioned a date. None of them had receipts. I knew what was going on. She was trying to tank my business from the outside. But I wasn't about to let her. I didn't respond to the fake reviews. I reported them and moved on. I wasn't about to start some online war. But I kept an eye on everything. When you run a small business, you have to be smart. You have to know when to push and when to wait. But what came next wasn't something I expected. One of my vendors, someone I'd worked with for almost 4 years, called me one morning. Said they were reevaluating their retail partnerships. It was strange. We had no late payments, no issues, nothing. I asked them straight up if someone had reached out to complain. There was a pause on the line. Then the guy, honest as ever, admitted someone had sent them a message calling me difficult to work with and not welcoming to high-end clientele. I was pissed. There's no proof it was her. But who else would care that much to try and ruin my relationships behind my back? I called a friend who works PR in the fashion space. Told her everything. She warned me, if this woman's connected, she could try to do real damage. Some of these social circles in Chicago are tight, petty, and full of whisper campaigns. People say one thing at brunch and it spreads like wildfire. So I decided to dig. I found her real name through our payment system logs. She had tried to buy those gloves before she stormed out, and her info was saved in the system from a past online order. So much for never heard of her. Her real name wasn't Crystal. It was someone else, someone with a reputation. She wasn't rich, but she knew people who liked to think they were. I started connecting dots. Her assistant had bought from us before. A few small orders over the past year. That part was true. But she herself had never stepped foot in the store until that day. She probably expected red carpet treatment because she dropped her husband's name at parties. Then came the weird phone calls. First one, a man asking if we could reserve the store for a private event. I said we don't usually do that but offered to talk more. He hung up before giving a name. The next day, someone else called asking if we discriminate against VIPs. That's the actual phrase they used. It was so out of place I didn't even answer. Just hung up. That weekend, someone keyed my car. Parked right behind the shop. Middle of the day. Security cam didn't catch it. I don't know for sure who did it. But it felt connected. Everything felt like a warning. Back off, stop talking, and don't embarrass the wrong people. Thing is, I don't scare easy. But I needed to be smart. So I talked to a lawyer friend. Told her the full story. She told me to start documenting everything. Names, dates, screenshots, voicemails. She said, if she crosses a line, we need proof she's targeting your business on purpose. So I did. I also started getting quieter. I stopped talking about her in the store. Stopped responding to questions from customers about what happened. Played it off. Let it cool. At least, that's what I wanted her to think. Then something unexpected happened. One of her old friends came into the store. I didn't know who she was at first. She bought a silk scarf, asked a few questions about where we sourced it, complimented Maya on her necklace, and left. Seemed normal. But then she came back the next day and pulled me aside. "I know who you are," she said quietly. I didn't respond. "She's been going around telling people you screamed at her, threw her out, and made fun of her clothes." I blinked. "That's not even close to what happened." She nodded. "I figured. She's always been like that. Makes enemies and then plays the victim. She's done this before to other stores." "What do you mean?" "She tried to get a spa shut down last year because they made her wait for 10 minutes. Started calling herself a local influencer and harassed them until they offered her free services. They eventually banned her. She lost her mind." I didn't say anything. Just let her talk. She targets small businesses. Ones she thinks won't fight back. Ones that don't have a PR team. That was it. That was the piece I'd been missing. It wasn't just about me. She did this on purpose. Over and over. Built up a fake image of herself and used it to bully people into submission. I wasn't going to be next. But I also wasn't going to do anything illegal. I needed a plan. A quiet one. One that let her bury herself. A week went by. The reviews slowed down. No more fake calls. But that just made me more suspicious. She was too calculated to just give up. I figured she was working on something bigger behind the scenes. Then I got the email. It came from a local journalist, freelancer for a small but respected lifestyle blog in Chicago. They said someone had contacted them about an incident involving a local boutique owner mistreating customers. Claimed there was verbal abuse and discriminatory behavior toward high-end shoppers. I read it twice. Discriminatory behavior? That word hit different. It wasn't about rude service anymore. She was trying to paint me as someone who targeted a type of customer, people like her, wealthy, fashionable, important. And once that kind of story is out there, it sticks. People don't check facts. They read a headline and run with it. I replied fast. Asked the journalist who sent the tip. They wouldn't say, confidential source. Of course. So now I had two problems. She was still coming at me quietly, and she was trying to make it public. I met with my lawyer again. She told me, this is reputation sabotage. If we can tie it to her directly, you've got a case. I didn't just want a case. I wanted the truth to come out on my terms. So I called in a favor from a regular customer. Her name's Lonnie, and she does social media marketing for a living. One of those quiet powerhouses who knows how to get a message across without shouting. She came into the shop the next day with a game plan. "Let's tell your story," she said. Not her version. Not a fight. Just the truth. Calm. Direct. No names. We recorded a video. It was simple. I stood in my shop, the same one I've worked hard to build for years, and talked about how we treat our customers equally. How no one skips the line. How everyone deserves respect, no matter what they wear, drive, or earn. And I made it clear that some people don't like being treated equally. That sometimes, the loudest complainers are the ones who didn't get special treatment. We posted it. Didn't tag anyone. Didn't call her out. It blew up. Not viral, not millions of views, but enough. Enough that local shops started commenting. Other small business owners shared it, saying, yes, this happens to us too. People in the comments talked about times they'd seen entitled shoppers act like bullies. The support came in waves. That should have ended it. But it didn't. 3 days later, I got served a cease and desist letter from her lawyer, claiming I defamed her character in a public video. I didn't even say her name. But she was mad. Really mad. She thought she'd scare me into deleting it. I didn't. My lawyer responded with our own letter. Drop the threats or we'll file for harassment, libel, and business interference. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One of her ex-assistants reached out. Said she wanted to meet in person. I agreed. We met at a small coffee shop a few blocks from my boutique. She looked nervous, maybe mid-20s, barely held eye contact. I used to work for her, she said quietly. She made me write those reviews. All of them. Told me what to say. Even the ones on Google and Yelp. I didn't want to, but she said I'd lose my job. I just listened. She's done it to 2 other boutiques and 1 spa. Told me it was branding warfare. That if someone embarrasses her, she takes their image apart piece by piece. Then she handed me a flash drive. She made me save everything. Emails, drafts, screenshots. I couldn't delete them, so I kept them. I thanked her. I wasn't even mad. I just felt this heavy quiet settle in. This wasn't drama. This wasn't a catfight over a pair of gloves. This was long-term, targeted sabotage. I took the drive to my lawyer. She opened the files and gasped. It was all there. Email subjects like review draft, use different name, and contact this blogger, say you're a witness. Screenshots of her giving instructions. Even a photo of me from inside my store, taken without permission, sent as an attachment labeled Target. This wasn't petty anymore. This was personal. And now I had everything I needed. But I wasn't going to go nuclear yet. I wanted one more thing before I made my move. I held on to that flash drive for 3 days. I didn't rush. I didn't rage post or throw it online. I wanted her to feel calm first. I wanted her to think she won. The shop was steady, sales were still good, and we kept everything quiet. But I wasn't done. I called a meeting with my lawyer, Lonnie, and the ex-assistant, who finally agreed to go on record, anonymous for now, but she was ready to testify if things went to court. Lonnie looked at everything on the flash drive and said, "You don't need to defend yourself anymore. Now you make her answer." She was right. So we put together a press packet. Not flashy. Just the facts. Screenshots, timelines, comparisons. A few clips from the video I'd posted, now with context. We sent it to the same blogger she tried to use against me. Then to 3 others in the city who all covered local business drama. One of them had a podcast. They asked me to come on. I did. I told the whole story, everything from her walking in, to the line cutting, to the reviews, to the lawsuit threat, to the assistant's confession. Still never used her name. Didn't need to. She outed herself. People started connecting dots. The podcast blew up in local circles. Readers found her Yelp profile and the trail of fake reviews she left across different businesses. Other small shop owners began sharing similar stories. One woman posted, "She threatened my hair salon with a lawsuit after we told her we were fully booked." Then a bomb dropped. One of the businesses she'd messed with in the past finally spoke up, with receipts. They'd held back until now, but the attention gave them courage. They shared screenshots of her blackmail emails, "Give me a comp service or I'll leave a negative review." Her signature, clear as day. It hit news blogs. Not just the small ones. Local news stations picked it up. The headline read, "Chicago woman accused of targeting small businesses with fake reviews, blackmail." Her face was everywhere. She locked her social accounts. Turned off comments. But it was too late. Clients started dropping her from her so-called consulting business. A gallery canceled her influencer event. Her name became a warning in local business circles. But here's where it turned. She tried to flip it. Posted a long message on Facebook claiming she was the real victim. Claimed she was being silenced for speaking up about poor service and that she felt unsafe at my store. Then she made her biggest mistake. She included a photo from the shop. That same photo her assistant had taken secretly months ago. The one labeled Target. She didn't have permission to post that. My lawyer sent her a letter within 12 hours. It wasn't just a cease and desist. We filed for harassment, defamation, and unlawful surveillance. We submitted the flash drive and testimony to back it. The assistant's statement became a witness affidavit. And we weren't the only ones. 2 other businesses joined the case. Class action. I didn't want her in jail. I just wanted her reputation to match her actions. But the judge saw things differently. After weeks of digging and evidence mounting, it came out that she used multiple aliases to file complaints to banks, landlords, and even tried to interfere with someone's lease. Not just unethical, illegal. Her lawyer dropped her. The court froze her accounts during the case. The brands that worked with her? Gone. Her business license got flagged. And her husband, who she'd bragged about constantly, filed for separation 2 months after everything blew up. I saw her once more. She came to the boutique. Walked in quietly. No sunglasses. No makeup. Her hair was down, messy, like she hadn't slept. She waited until no one else was in the store, then came up to the counter where I was restocking earrings. I looked up. She didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she said, "I didn't expect it to go this far." I said, "You tried to destroy my life and other people's too." She looked away. I thought I could control the story. "I've done it before." I nodded. "You picked the wrong target this time." She didn't argue. Just stood there, then whispered, "Are you happy now?" I paused, then said no. "But I'm not scared anymore. And I'm not quiet anymore. That matters more than happy." She left. No yelling. No fake crying. Just walked out. And I let her go. Some people say I got revenge. Maybe I did. But what I really got was justice. Not loud, not cruel. Just true. She paid for what she did because people finally saw her for what she really was. And maybe, for the first time, she did too. My mistake? I used to think people like her couldn't do real damage. Now I know better. But I also know how to stop them. And that's enough.